Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I've got a little project share for you today, and this is a tag that I have made. Now unfortunately I did film the process of me making the tag, but as some of you are aware, I've been having a few issues with my camera just in the last few days, and the footage just wasn't good enough again. So unfortunately I've scrapped that and decided just to do it as a project share instead. So I started out with a blank tag like this one. It's a wooden tag. It was in a pack from the works. They were 2 wooden tags for £1. So I gessoed it, and the reason I gessoed it was because I wanted to add some Lindy's Stamp Gang sprays and some magicals onto it, and they sort of watercolours and any sort of paints really will just move better if it's got a layer of gesso underneath. So I gessoed it. I coloured my little image, and this is the Marcel, I think she's called, from JMC Designs. I'm part of the design team, but you can actually get this image for free at the moment if you go over to Kit and Clowder Facebook page. They've got a link to get this image for free, and also a voucher code for 25% off of Julia's shop this week. So head on over and have a look. I will put all the links in the description box below. So that's sort of that image there. I coloured her in the colours that I did because I sort of picked it going along with the sprays that I wanted to use. So I sort of picked the sprays and then picked the alcohol markers to match. So then on the tag I laid down some modelling paste through a stencil, and I used the modelling paste that I make myself, and this is just talcum powder, white paint and PVA glue. I don't actually measure any of it, I just sort of chuck it in and mix it up until I get the consistency that I like. But there are lots of proper recipes, and I did start out by using the proper recipes that are on YouTube and you know, Pinterest and all the rest of it. But yeah, I just sort of bang it all in now and see where we go with it. So I picked a pattern that was a bit like leaves, a stencil, and I've just popped that there in the background. I then went over it with some of the Lindy's Stamp Gang sprays. So I used the Alpine Ice Rose and the Cajun Carnelian Red, and those are the sort of main 2 colours that I used here on the tag. Now I did put that on with a paintbrush because I find the sprays are really messy, and unless you've got a spray box to sort of contain it, you end up with spray everywhere. So rather than doing that, and to try and preserve some white space on the tag, which I do struggle with sort of keeping white space, I end up with everything covered. I found that if I just sort of go in with a bit of the ink on a paintbrush and drop it in, and then spray with water and move it about, I tend to be more successful in leaving some white space. So I did that, and then I gave it one quick spray with the Bayou Boogie Gold spray, which is a nice sort of sparkly gold. I just gave it one spritz with that. I then stamped with some Timber Brown Stays On, because obviously that won't move if I were to put any more water or anything like that on the top, it wouldn't move it. So I used that, and just a cheap script stamped that I don't know, eBay somewhere like that, stamped around with that. I then took some chipboard pieces that I'd got, which is these leaves up here, and then the word friends there, and this little sort of piece down the bottom here. I heat embossed those with the Zig Queen's Gold, I think it is, the embossing powder, and just sort of glued those into place. I cut some doilies, so I cut one out of tracing paper, just cheap tracing paper from the pound shop. And then this was actually a little small doily that I'd got in my stash. So I just sort of laid them so that they were covering part of the tag but not too much of it. I liked the tracing paper because it gave that little bit of a visual barrier between the tag and the girl, but you didn't block all of the script that was behind it, which obviously the more opaque ones do. But I wanted to make sure there was a bit of a barrier between the girl and the tag, because they're coloured in such similar colours. If I'd have put her straight on top of the inked tag, she just would have blended in, and that would have been that. So so that's why I've sort of put the doilies there, and it just adds again to the interest and the texture. With the Friends word, when I embossed it, I actually heat embossed it in black. And it was just too dark for the tag, so I sort of went over it with a little bit of white gesso. I sort of dry brushed it with a bit of white gesso, and it was better, but it still wasn't quite the way that I wanted it to be. So I went over it with a bit of glue and let it dry a little bit, and then put some of these Cosmic Shimmer gilding flakes in Harvest Moon on the top. Now, I found these at a charity shop recently. It's a full tub, so that was quite a good find for me, really. So yeah, I've just popped that on and then went over it with a nice stiff brush to take back and take all the excess off, and it sort of has left it with that nice foiled effect, but it's almost a little bit matte as well, because I haven't buffed it. I've just left it as it was when I took it off with the stiff brush. It's given it a nice sort of almost matte effect to it, so I really like that. I've then added some of the handmade flowers that I make. This is a pretty little one that came in some Happy Mail. I quite often do some swaps on a Facebook group called Fun Life on a Budget. We do Happy Mail, all sorts of like pocket letters and loaded envelopes, that sort of thing. And one of the ladies that I swapped with earlier in the year sent me these lovely little flowers that she'd made. This is just one of the ones from AliExpress, and then all the others are ones that I've made. These are the little foam stems that you pick up in the pound shop, and then some little metallic metal leaves. These are from the jewellery making section in AliExpress, and they are, I think they're called wrap connectors or something like that. You get all different shapes and sizes, and obviously I've picked up the little leaf ones. I've then also put a little bit of glue sort of round her feet, a little bit under there, up round here, and I poured on some micro beads. You'll quite often find them advertised as nail caviar. They're these tiny little, they've got no hole in them, they are just little tiny micro beads, and they are meant for gluing on to things. You can quite often find them in the pound shop, actually, in the little sets of stuff for children's craft. But if you look on eBay or AliExpress or anywhere like that, you'll find them. You can sometimes find them as micro beads, but you can sometimes find them as nail caviar. So I've popped some of those around, and again, that just adds to the texture. I've popped some nice gold sequins here and there. And then threaded a piece of baker's twine that's got some gold thread running through it. Put a nice big chunky bead on the top, and I found these two little charms in a box of old broken jewellery that I've got. So I ask all my family and friends, you know, if ever you've got any costume jewellery that gets broken, don't throw it away, let me have it, because I'm sure that I'll find a use for it. And I just collect it all up. I've got a couple of little tubs like this, full of bits and pieces, and whenever I've got a project like this, I'll pull it out and see what I can find. So the big bead came off of a piece of jewellery in here, and so did the little charms. Now, the little rose charm was actually darker. It was almost like a bronzy colour. So all I did was just dry brush over that with a little bit of gold metallic paint, and that just sort of makes it fit in a little bit better with the theme. So that's my mixed media tag for today. Like I say, go on over and have a look at Julia's shop. Also go and look at her Facebook group. She's got lots of people sharing fantastic projects in there. She's got a fantastic YouTube channel, so I'll link that as well. And Kit and Clowder. I've learned a lot just from being in their Facebook group without sort of doing any of the classes, but I have just signed up to a skin and hair class because it is something that I always struggle to colour and to get the depth and that I want, so I've just signed myself up for that one. So hopefully lots to learn there, so I'm looking forward to it. Thanks ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you like the tag. I'd really appreciate a thumbs up if you do, and subscribe and like. I hope to see you all again soon. I have got my Christmas wreath project hopefully coming up in the next day or two, and there will be a giveaway on that video. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon. Bye!